everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I have a very special guest. It is not Bob Ross, but it's somebody better.
Hi everyone, I'm Taran Matharu. I'm the author of the New York Times bestselling Summoner series and also the Contender series. And you can see my beautiful assistants holding up The Chosen, which is book 1 in the Contender series, which some of you may have read. Well, why don't you tell us a little more about what we're doing today, Sasha?
Oh, so we're going to be Bob Rossing it today. Today we are going to be painting his next book cover for The Challenger, which is coming out...
June. It's coming out in June.
Summer.
Yeah.
Ooh. So it's going to be the perfect summer read. I have been reading it. I'm almost done, and let me tell you, your mind is so wow. I love it. But guys, so we're going to be doing something really fun, and I wanted to do something creative with this cover reveal, because last time we did one, we did it in Japan.
Yes, we were traveling around Japan, and we did the cover reveal in a dinosaur cafe, because the book series has prehistoric creatures in it.
Yeah, we paid stupid amounts of prices for the drinks and to even get in there, and there's nobody there.
We did a scavenger hunt across Japan to find some of the items that you can find in The Chosen. Today instead we are going to do a painting challenge, right?
And where are we today?
So we are in a very historic chapel in an ancient building. It actually dates back all the way to Elizabeth I, but most of the building is Victorian. And we're in this secret chapel that was hidden in the house, and nobody's quite sure why it's here because there's also a church on the ground. So it's quite likely that the wife of the old owner of the building was secretly Catholic, and so she made this private chapel to worship in.
Oh, I was thinking about something totally different. I'm like, oh, it's for, you know, the young son and the young daughter of two warring families wanting to get married in secret. So they come to this very long forgotten chapel to get married. So we're here, we're ready to paint. And I think the fun thing about this whole entire cover reveal is that we're not going to see each other's sides of the cover until we combine them together.
We're doing one side each of the cover, and then we're going to combine them at the end to see what it looks like.
Hopefully disastrous. Okay guys, with that being said, are you ready, Taran, to paint your book cover?
I sure am.
Or at least half of it.
Okay. I have no idea what I'm doing in terms of mixing paints. Sasha is not allowed to help me.
You guys aren't going to see what we're painting until the very end. So watch through, because we're going to be getting into some spicy questions. And by spicy, the first question is, what's your favorite type of spice?
I like cinnamon, actually.
Is paprika spice? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
So while you're concentrating, let me make things more difficult, and let me have you describe your book in 4 sentences or less. Dun, 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 dun.
So the story is about a group of teenagers who suddenly find themselves taken from their world to a mysterious other world, one that's populated with many missing things from history. So an example might be the 9th Legion of Rome, or various like famous items that have gone missing, like the Honjo Masamune sword is one of my favorites. It ends up being the main character's sword, and that is the best sword ever made, and it disappeared in 1945.
I took it.
And it's about how they find themselves being ordered around by these mysterious overlords for this kind of macabre game. And all these things from Earth's history are kind of scattered around where they are, and they need to figure out where they've been taken and what the purpose of these nefarious overlords is for them.
Where did you get all these ideas, and how long did it take to research all of them? Because I know we kind of covered this in our last cover reveal, but how did you kind of handle it with the second book, and are there any new elements that are brought into this series?
So I love history, and it's one of the big inspirations for the series, is all these kind of interesting pieces of history that we've kind of forgotten about. In this new book, the main characters are kind of taken from their environment and made to fight as gladiators in a very Romanesque arena, but this time they have to contend with prehistoric creatures that they need to fight against, and people from different periods of history that are also kind of pitted against them. And they need to learn how to fight in a very different style to what they're used to. They basically need to learn how to fight in a shield wall and survive kind of team-based combat in an arena.
Freaking love that. And also, if you guys don't know, like, these kids are normal kids by any means if you look at history. I mean, yes, there's a group of 80 schoolgirls who I love and like relate, because they're in like their poor schoolgirl uniforms all whole entire first book and even part of the second, right?
Yes.
And I'm just like, if I had to wear my wool skirt that I had to wear at my all-girls school for...
In the jungles.
Yeah, and not ideal, because it is hot.
I have to say, this outline that Sasha drew is like, I would be lost without it right now.
But the thing is, like, Cade and his friends, like, you know, they're a bunch of misfits, and they are completely out of their element, but not so much as you may think, because once they're put into this crazy world that they never knew was a possibility, because who would expect that, you know, they have to use their skills that they bury deep down, whether they learned it in school or from their families or this or that, because Cade, for example, is incredibly smart. Him being so intelligent definitely is an aspect that maybe he pulls from you, because a lot of his interests, not all of them, but some of the really interesting ones are, you know, something that Taran would definitely talk about and research.
Yeah, Sasha and I like talk a lot about historical stuff.
I know, it's the one, Taran's like the one person I could be like, oh, so like there's this new documentary going on about the Roman Empire. Do you wanna watch it? It's like, yeah. I want to know how much of this character is kind of based off of your own, because I feel like when we write books, a lot of ourselves may be put into the character, or maybe none of ourselves at all. And I know that Kay is also mixed race, just like you, but also there is this preconceived notion that whenever an author of color may be writing a character who's also of the same color, that they're exactly the same and they're the same person, they're writing themselves into the book, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, it's so I think I think that the thing that initially made me hesitant of writing a character of the same race as me was that people think that, oh, this is an Indian, half white guy writing a story about a half Indian, half white person, so it must be based on themselves. Meanwhile, if a white author was to write about a white character, unless there was some other characteristic that they shared, people would assume that people don't make the same assumption.
Yeah.
So, and I don't like self-insert books where the character is kind of you. I like to live inside someone else's head, not like my own.
But pulling characteristics from like what are your like interests, because that's important, because you're knowledgeable.
We have shared interests, but we're not the same person.
Just like you and I shared interests, but we're not the same person.
Yeah, so I found that challenging, but in the end, I don't think people have made that connection necessarily, although Cade does share my love of history, but that's because, you know, the book is about history, and the main character kind of has to, otherwise he won't understand what's going on.
I mean, he knows, like, not the bare minimum of, like, Latin, but he knows, like, enough of it.
He knows the same amount of Latin as, say,
somebody
who went to high school who studied it would be.
Yeah.
So I know that they study it occasionally in the US, but in the UK, like, a lot of the private schools, and some state schools, will teach Latin, even though it's a dead language. And I was taught Latin at school. I wasn't the best at it, so he can speak Latin, which serves him very well in the book when he's dealing with all these people who are taken from ancient Rome.
And they're like kind of baddies, I have to say.
Yes.
And Quintus is actually a very interesting character who I adore, because he was a character that I never seen before in literature, where he's a
deaf legionary, and people with disabilities from history were treated very differently to how they are now, although that's not to say that they are treated amazingly well these days. But, you know, in historical times, for example, in Roman times, they didn't really have much of a sign language for people who were deaf. So, you know, it was very hard, and some people would actually think that people with disabilities were cursed, and that they were bad luck, and people would avoid them, and people would treat them very badly or throw stones at them to keep them away from them. Quintus had to endure that kind of stuff as a child, and even as a kind of a teenager. And so Cade and him become very close friends, and that's how Cade gets to practice his Latin. And Quintus, having all his historical knowledge, having fought as a legionary, being one of the 9th Legion, he's able to help Cade in many ways as well. But what is interesting is that because a lot of the combat that they have is team-based, Quintus is not completely deaf. He's only partially deaf. So they have to find ways of making sure that Quintus has heard like what the decision is and what the instructions are.
Yeah.
And that's why Quintus is always at Cade's shoulder, so that he can hear what Cade is ordering during the battle. I'm trying very hard not to spoil things.
I spoil my own books so often.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's so bad. Like, so many people are like, Sasha, shut up. Lindsay especially. Lindsay's not with me. Like,
well, I know that you always give away the name for Project Red in series, and then you turn it off and delete it. and
Oh,
I'm surprised.
I also
hasn't
give it
come
off
out.
to people. I've like literally told so many people at book signings.
I bet you that your publishers will make you change it.
They better not, because it's such a good title.
I
They
know,
actually
but
helped me
that's-
come up with the series title.
But that's one of the really sad things about publishing is that the author very rarely gets to pick the title of their book.
Yeah.
They just kind of told, this is it, like it or lump it. But I don't think they'll change your title. I think it's good, but it's possible that they might. You never know. I would like to take this moment to apologize to everyone who has to look at what I've just been drawing because it's gonna look so bad. Hey, what happens when you mix yellow and green?
It makes a brighter green.
Mine's like a watercolor. I think yours is like more intense, probably.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's talk a little bit about Cade versus relationships and the different ones that he shares with people, because I feel like all of your books pretty much center around a group of characters, and each character has a different relationship with your main. Like, you know, for example, the main crew that's in the Summer series, they all go to the same school together, and they all fight in this like wild battle together, and you know, they go through a lot of crap. And it shows their friendship, but most of all, their partnership. And that is really beautiful, especially in young adult, where a lot of the time people think that only romantic relationships are the only ones that are seen as interesting, but it isn't, because it is completely not. And I think that romance takes a really far back seat in your books, but you see it a little bit more in the Contender series than in the Summer series.
Yeah, so I always find it hard to write romance into scenes where, you know, you'd be more worried about staying alive than making out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's always been one of my issues with some YA books. Some do it amazingly, where it's kind of like, you know, all hope is lost, what else do we have except this love that's formed, while others are like, let's kiss in the middle of battle.
Oh my gosh, like, in Aquaman, how they're just like making out in the middle of battle. I'm like, you guys?
Aquaman is crazy because it's like, okay, to have that kissed, you just sacrifice like 200 lives of your people.
Okay.
I'm so bad at painting.
I'm like worried about mine, so like, don't worry.
I am like, it's your outline that has saved me. If mine is better than Sasha's, it's because Sasha drew me like a perfect outline and then spent like no time on hers whatsoever.
Well, yeah, because I was like, oh wait, we need to like get started.
Yeah, because we're in the UK and it's very dark in the UK. Like it gets dark at 4 o'clock. We have 2 hours and it's gonna be like pretty dark.
Yeah.
Although we do have like backlighting. Right, I am done, so I will wait for you. How far off being done are you?
I feel like we're really hyping me up to be like the best of the best here, and I really don't appreciate that. I can't always live up to like my former glory. So like, I'll be done in like 5 minutes. I mean, like, I feel like this is the best it's gonna get.
Yeah! Alright, are you ready?
I mean, not gonna look? Ready?
We're gonna hold
1,
it.
2. Why is yours better than mine?
Oh my god.
Look, also, why do we both draw the same moon?
Because mine had a moon.
Mine had the moon.
But yours is so much thicker than mine, like in terms of the paints.
Yeah.
Mine is just like filling in the design that you drew for me.
You know, the more you look at him, it's kind of scary, but it's cute. I think we did a good job.
I think we did a great job.
Yeah.
Wait. Well done.
And then without further ado, the actual cover of The Challenger. Magical Paparazzi.
I think it's a lot better than what we drew today.
I mean, I was gonna recommend that maybe Macmillan should change it to our cover, just because I feel like it's more realistic. I don't want to like hype us up too much.
I know, maybe it's not too late. And then we should also reveal the UK cover.
Yes.
Which is different to the US one, but kind of shows the same scene. Without further ado.
Britishness.
There you go. So the cool thing about the covers is that the US and the UK both used the same artists, even though they had different concepts and they couldn't agree on what they wanted on the cover. So they still used the same artist, which was really nice. But you'll see that they're totally different concepts, but just in the same style. So
like last times with the first book.
Exactly, and the first book did exactly the same. In fact, we can flash up those covers now, so you can see the British one and the American one.
American versus British.
And yeah, let us know in the comments if you prefer the American one or the British one.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Who you thought won today's little,
Yes.
even though it was never a competition.
It was a competition. Now that I've seen what you did, I wanted a competition.
I feel like yours is better with like how, let's not talk about my sphere. Let's just like not talk about it. Don't forget to go and follow Taran on Instagram and Twitter.
And thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you give the Contender series a shot. I put a lot of my heart and soul into it.
Out for pre-order now.
Bye guys.